In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
we ask the question, should you always take your motorhome to an accredited workshop?
And in the news, we're off to the Yorkshire Show.
And we answer your questions on streaming UK TV abroad, installing underslung gas tanks, and if extras add anything to a motorhome's resale value.
And we premiere 5 fun Fiamma facts. Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Reliance.
Now remember, please follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and that little bell.
Okay, we've got a brand new community space. Join our new free and private Facebook group, which means you have to request to join. It's called Chat with Motorhome Matt.
Woohoo! Yes, it's a place that you can get some one-to-one advice with me. I'm going to be regularly in the group, so you can pose your question or your concern, and I'll be regularly answering them. So hopefully we'll have lots of industry people joining me in the group, and hopefully loads of podcast listeners and viewers joining us too. So head to Chat with Motorhome Matt on Facebook. The group is now open. Answer a couple of simple questions and you'll be very welcome.
And there's a link in the episode description right here. The Yorkshire Motorhome and Campervan exhibition starts this week, Friday 20th of March to Sunday the 22nd of March at the Great Yorkshire Showground in Harrogate. Matt, tell me what we can expect to see.
Yeah, this show is visitor only, day visitor only. There's no camping. Hundreds of exhibitors selling accessories, loads and loads of motorhome dealers selling new and used campervans and motorhomes. The advice centre is running, which is where I will be based all weekend, packed with free talks all weekend. You can find out more and get a discount if you're coming along for the day or multiple days. Just head to mhmp.info/shows.
And use the code Motorhome Matt for a discount, because that leisure shop is there as well. We have a brand new segment for the next few weeks. We're bringing you 5 fun Fiamma facts. I'll say that again. 5 fun Fiamma facts. 5 fun Fiamma facts. 5 fun Fiamma facts.
Fiamma really did agree to this.
Yeah. So you're going to ask me a question about Fiamma?
Okay, so Keith, we are going to explore 5 fun Fiamma facts. The first one. Fiamma has been around since 1945, but do you know what their very first product was?
Bang, dong, ding, 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 ding.
No, it wasn't a music box.
Their first product, well, I've got to say it's an awning.
That's the obvious answer, isn't it? And you'd think it probably was. It wasn't. So here's Charles Potsey, the co-CEO of Fiamma, to tell us. So Charles, tell us. Fiamma have been around since 1945, but what was the very first product that Fiamma made?
So the very first product was an aluminum gas cooker, which was initially designed for the home, but because, kitchens back then, some of them weren't fixed into the table or the tabletop, you could move them around. When it was a sunny day, you could bring it outside. And then, caravans back then were sold also empty, and you would have to put all the accessories. So people started putting our gas cooker inside the caravans, and that's how we got into the industry.
And does Fiamma still make that gas cooker?
We don't, but we're considering maybe to do something special, maybe like a little retro design.
A tribute act.
A tribute act, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And is this then where the name Fiamma comes from?
Another interesting fact, yes, exactly. So Fiamma means flame, which was essentially the byproduct of the first, product that we made, which was an aluminum gas cooker with flame, and so we call ourselves Fiamma.
Brilliant. Now you know. Find out more about Fiamma at mhmp.info/Fiamma.
This week on the Motorhome Matt podcast, we are talking about workshops. Should you use an approved one? What is an approved workshop, Matt?
That's a great question. So many workshops that service motorhomes and campervans get approval from the NCC. They run an approved workshop scheme. Some choose to get registered and some choose to get registered with both. the AWS and the MCEA, which is the Motorhome Caravan Engineers Association. Now, many engineers are in these schemes. Some have physical workshops and some are mobile. But really, what are the benefits of using an approved scheme? And I asked Darren Brown, who is the Managing Director at Reliance, his thoughts on this. Darren, it's great to have you with us here on the podcast. This has been a long time coming.
It has been a long time, yeah. It's been many years.
Yeah. Now, we've known each other, too long to talk
20 years?
about. Probably.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about your background and how we got to know each other.
Originally, we first met, I think, with Adria in 2008. I was working at Premier Motorhomes. I was the commercial director for them, and you were with the Family Travel Centre. And I think we met through Adria, probably at the NEC.
We were probably
stands.
treading the carpet tiles, selling motorhomes, weren't we?
Absolutely were, yeah.
Do you remember that year we all went to Excel and did the show there? What a disaster.
That was a disaster, yeah. Getting in, getting out, and every other part of it.
And many people watching this will have no idea that the NEC show, as it gets called, did 1 year appear at Excel in London.
It did, yeah. And it previously used to, for many years before that, and then it went only to the NEC, and then that 1 year there, and that was the disaster.
Yeah.
And then back to the NEC.
And many years before that, it was over 2 weeks long, 3 weekends.
It was, yeah.
Can you imagine that now?
No, not at all. No, one to be avoided.
We're here at your fantastic business, Reliance Caravan and Motorhome Services.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's it.
You mentioned you were at Premier.
Yes.
Which was a dealership not far away.
It was, about 12 miles from here.
Yeah, you were there for 10 years?
About 10 years, yeah.
And how long has Reliance been going?
We've now had Reliance. It's just coming into its 10th year now.
Is it really?
2016 we started.
Wow.
We first traded November 2016.
Wow, well, congratulations on your 10th birthday.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then, of course, recently Premier have closed.
They have, unfortunately, it's the market just got a little bit too difficult for them in the end. So yes, they've now closed, yeah.
And that must have been good for your business then, being a local dealer closing down. You've taken over, presumably, all the service work.
A lot of their service work, yeah. Lots of their customers came to us anyway over the past number of years. Yeah. But now with nowhere else to go locally, we've taken over many of them.
So just tell us then the brands that you are working with, the manufacturer brands that you're working with, and you can do warranty work for, and so on. And we've got a list there just to remind.
We have got a list, yeah. So we are service partners for Adria, Auto Trail, Carthago, Detlefs, Fiamma, Malibu, Sunlight, Sun Living, who are part of the Adria group, Niesman and Pilot.
And of course, Sunlight part of Detlefs.
They are, yes.
And Malibu part of Carthago.
Malibu part of Carthago.
You say Carthago?
Carthago. Everybody says it differently.
Potato.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
So
right.
I want to talk about the fact you're an approved workshop. So you're also NCC approved.
We are, yeah, AWS.
Yes. Why is that important to you?
To us as a company, it gives us a charter to follow. It means that we keep the qualifications that we need to be at the high end of the marketplace. With gas, with electrics, with safety, damp testing, and also for our customers, it means that we can service their vans and keep their warranties in check. Which is all important because not everybody wants to travel back to their dealer. So if we can keep their warranties in check, then that makes a big difference to them and pulls more customers our way.
So what you're saying then, by virtue of the fact you are AWS, Approved Workshop Scheme, manufacturers recognise you as an approved place.
They do.
To get their brands repaired and serviced and so on.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're inspected once a year by independent assessors that come in and they check that we're doing the right things. We have the right training and qualifications in place, the right tooling. Everything has to be calibrated. It gives us something to work with, and it keeps us on our toes as well.
And what would you say though to consumers that are thinking, I'm just going to go to the guy down the road who's not AWS, but he's a lovely chap and he's got a motorhome and he's a mechanic, he's been working in the industry for 40 odd years. They're not regulated in any way. What would your advice be to that consumer?
Probably to think hard about it, particularly if your vehicle's in warranty, if the motorhome's got a remaining warranty on it. Lots of warranty companies and manufacturers will only honour the warranty if you use an approved workshop. And obviously just be wary of the skills that people have and make sure they have the skills and the knowledge to do what you need to be done.
So we're talking about manufacturers kind of approving warranty repairs, and a huge amount, I imagine, of your workload is manufacturer repair.
It is, yeah.
Warranty work.
Yeah.
And sadly, we seem to be in a situation where more and more brand new motorhomes have to go back to the dealer or back to an independent place like you for warranty work. Why is that, do you think?
Well, the reality is motorhomes are getting more and more complicated. There's more electronics to deal with. Much of it is computer controlled, CAN bus controlled. So everybody needs a little bit more support with how it all works. We need to do more training, and they are just getting more and more complicated as the years go by.
And do you think it's reasonable that a motorhome that is 3 months old has a rotten floor? I'm getting messages every week as the podcast has grown. More and more people are discovering this channel and are taking to us to complain about the situation they find themselves in. And I'm at a loss as to how to advise them, really. My advice is usually, well, you need to go back to the dealer or find an independent service centre like you. And I know we've given you a shout out in the past.
Yes.
And you are highly reputable and Motorhome approved, I should point out.
Absolutely, we are.
Which I'm very pleased about.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that fact. But do you think it's reasonable that a 3-month-old motorhome is suffering with damp and it's then off the road for 6 months?
Not at all. No, it's something that obviously we're dealing with and facing as you're finding with people who are contacting you. We are obviously in a position to help, but no, it's not acceptable that should happen. There's no real industry answer to it. Some manufacturers are more prone to it than others, and some are more helpful than others. But it's picking carefully when you buy, picking the brand carefully that you buy, and doing your research.
And there's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
That people always say, well, which are the brands we should avoid? Now, we're not going to name brands. No one's going under the bus today.
No.
But you've just read a list to us of manufacturers that you work with.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're happy to work with and doing warranty work for.
Yep.
I want to talk a bit more about warranty work because that's a challenge for you as well commercially. But there are a whole load of British brands not on that list. Auto Trail feature.
Yep.
Where are the others that are household names?
Some of the British brands are slightly more difficult for us to deal with, purely on the basis of labour rates. When a dealer is carrying out warranty work on a vehicle, they've obviously sold someone a motorhome. They've made a profit and retained a profit. For us, it's more difficult because we're coming in as the person that might be able to help with the problems that you might get on the motorhome, but we haven't made a background profit, so we need to claim a reasonably good labour rate for doing it.
I know when you were at Premier, you always said we would put an amount of money aside into an account from the profit of the sale,
absolutely,
which would be kind of your customer care.
It was
pot.
Like customer care pot, yeah, exactly right.
But of course, as just a service centre, you don't have that pot, do you?
We don't know, because we're not actually selling motorhomes. So we have to deal with, and we do deal with the manufacturers that will work with us. There are lots of manufacturers, and particularly the ones we're dealing with that we mentioned earlier, that will proactively work with us to give us what we need as a company with a labour rate. Also, they'll help out with obviously parts, and their ethos as manufacturers, particularly the German manufacturers, is customer care. Look after the customer, make sure they're happy. So yes, they're why we've picked the brands that we're currently with.
It is interesting that the Germans do seem to be heroes of customer care.
They are very good at it. But I've got to say, there are other nations. The French are pretty good, and obviously Adria with Slovenians as well. They're very, very, very good as well.
So would you say that European manufacturers have got the edge on British manufacturers in terms of after-sales support?
Definitely, yes. They, in our opinion, certainly my opinion, they probably build a better product up front, which means you get less warranty issues. But when you do get an issue, they're more willing to help out, and they'll certainly pull out all the stops to get you back on the road.
And is it fair to say that if British manufacturers were to increase the hourly rate they might be prepared to pay you, you might be more willing to consider supporting their customers?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. It's we've got, as businesses, we've all got our running costs we have to cover, and yes, if they were willing to pay a better rate, then yes, we might be able to work with them. We're honest with our customers and explain this to them. And most people understand, but obviously we can't convince the British manufacturers that's the way forward.
Well, maybe we can.
Absolutely, we can try.
I know there are lots of them watching this,
yes.
and I just think it's really interesting to get your insight.
Yeah.
We often talk about what needs to change in our industry to improve the standards that we as consumers are being fed the product, and maybe that's one very practical way that things could shift. So, British manufacturers, if you're listening, take note. Darren is on the coalface here.
And we'd like to help.
There you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth. So, Darren, in terms of advising customers then, in terms of looking after their motorhome, what would your advice be to consumers watching this piece as best practice to care for their caravan, motorhome or campervan?
Best practice is stick to an annual habitation service. That will cover their gas, their electrical systems, very importantly a damp check, and from there we'll provide a list of potential problems or current faults. Some of them will be minor, they don't need to be dealt with. Some of them will be more important and can be dealt with quickly. But also I would say to people to not leave it. If there's something that they're not happy with on the motorhome, or they notice something, a stain around a roof light or a stain or some water around a locker, have it looked at. Don't wait until your next service, because we see a lot of vans that come in that have been leaking, and the owners will say, it's been leaking for 6 months. But the damage is then done. So have it looked at quickly. But an annual habitation service will keep you on top of everything that you need to do.
And out of interest, when someone rings up to book in with you, how far into the future are you booking?
Typically 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
It can be as little as 3 or 4 weeks, but it depends on time of year, obviously, and the workload that we've currently got in.
Fantastic. Now, as I said earlier, I am dead proud that you are Motorhome Matt approved.
We're proud to.
I can highly recommend Darren and his team to you if you're in the Chichester area. We're in West Sussex, aren't we, today?
We're West Sussex, yeah.
So if that's your neck of the woods, or you're prepared to travel to get booked in 6 or 8 weeks, not 6 or 8 months, as many dealerships, that's the timescale they're working to, then I can highly commend Reliance to you. Where can people discover you online so they can book in?
They can discover us on our website, which is reliancecms.uk, obviously via the telephone and good old Google.
Yeah, and also check out their Motorhome Matt approved page, which is at mhmp.info/Reliance. Darren, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's been great to see you.
And you.
Appreciate you interrupting a very busy midweek day for you.
That's all right.
And good luck for the future.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. Good to see you.
That was Darren Brown. He's the Managing Director at Reliance. Have our questions all been answered about workshops, approved ones, non-approved ones?
Yeah, and I think also check their reviews as well. And if you can, go and visit the workshop if it's a physical workshop, or meet with the mobile engineer and trust your gut. If you think, I'm happy these people are going to be working on my motorhome and trudging around inside it, then go for it. But I would always commend to you an approved or accredited workshop as a great place to start. That is not to dismiss those guys who are not, but I think it's a good benchmark. And I'm delighted to say that Reliance are Motorhome Matt approved. You'll find other service centres on the directory as well. Depending on where you are in the country, you may find one near to you. The Approved Workshop Scheme are also Motorhome Matt approved, so you can check their database. They now have nearly 600 approved workshops throughout the UK. Head to mhmp.info/approved.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Get 15% off your insurance premium with Ripe. Just click the link in the episode description.
Okay, time for the Q&A, the questions and answers. You ask the questions, Matt, he answers them. If he doesn't know an answer, he'll ask somebody who jolly well does. First of all, we've got a question here about NordVPN. You might have heard them advertising here at the Motorhome Map podcast. It's from Jim Kane in Ballymena. Good to know we've got some Irish listeners. Does NordVPN allow you to access Sky, Netflix and Prime when travelling in Europe? Jim asks. We're off at the start of May doing France, Germany, Austria, Italy and ending at our regular stopover at Aix-en-Provence. Have I pronounced that correctly?
I think so. It's a good attempt.
Aix-en-Provence, AIX. We'll be using a campsite Wi-Fi where available. Thanks in advance, says Jim.
Yeah, so if you're using campsite Wi-Fi, I definitely recommend you consider NordVPN because it's a public Wi-Fi, so there's a risk that your connection could get attacked. But your question is about watching TV. You can tell NordVPN in the app that you are in the UK and therefore you can stream UK TV abroad, so you can watch BBC iPlayer. Plus, it's going to protect you if you're logging in to any website using passwords, especially important if you're doing banking. Their Threat Protection Pro blocks malware and scam sites. It also blocks trackers and those annoying ads. Now, you can get 4 extra months included and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just head to nordvpn.com/motorhomematt.
That's nordvpn.com/motorhomematt. Scott Young got in touch.
Hi, Matt. I was just wondering if you would be able to help me. I'm looking to put an underslung gas LPG cylinder on my new motorhome for the installation. I'm in North Devon, and I didn't know if at all you could recommend anyone close in the southwest, and maybe with an estimate of what that may cost. Thanks very much. Cheers, Scott.
Cheers, Scott. Much appreciated. So, is LPG still a thing then?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And refillable tanks are really important, especially if you go into the continent, because Cala is only a UK product. So a refillable tank is a no-brainer.
Right, okay.
But in terms of who to go to, the Approved Workshop Scheme is who I'd recommend where you start. Don't Google AWS. You'll end up on Amazon Web Services. Search Approved Workshop Scheme, and you can find somebody who is accredited near to you. Not far from you, though, just north of you, are a company that I've used for years and I can highly recommend as a result of me using them personally. That's Miles and the team at MJB Tourer Services. They are just south of Bristol Airport, so from North Devon, really easy to get to, 45 minutes away. And Miles is an expert at fitting these tanks, and he has been very busy over the last year or so replacing loads of them that have gone out of date, because once they get to 10 years old they have to be replaced. And so he's taking loads of them off motorhomes for dealers at the moment, and replacing them with brand new ones. So MJB Tourer Services, they are also Motorhome Matt approved, which is great. So give them a call, speak to Becky who answers the phone, and Miles and the team will definitely look after you.
Fantastic. Dave Miller's in Yate, which is near Chipping, Sodbury in the West Coast. Let me quick story about Yate. Used to be a nightclub there called Spirals in Yate.
They did.
Absolutely did, 100%. And when I was at Galaxy Radio in Bristol, which was a hot radio station at the time, about 35 years ago, this little unknown band came along and played a night with Galaxy Radio at Spirals in Yate called Take That. And it was before they'd had any hits, and they were just going around and doing their thing. And, we met up with him, and they're nice lads and all the rest of it. And there was a tiny dressing room there, and everybody got on. It was fantastic. Particularly a couple of DJs that I used to have there, Rick and Andy. Well, anyway, 12 months later, they were the biggest thing on the planet. And they didn't forget Rick and Andy, and they didn't forget us at Galaxy Radio.
They came back, didn't they? I remember this.
They played I think, Bristol Hippodrome, and they gave us at Galaxy Radio the whole front row of tickets to give away as prizes.
There we are, brilliant. Didn't they come back on the radio station as well?
They did. It pays to be nice to people.
On the way up.
Okay.
You never know who you meet on the way down.
So Dave Miller in Yate. Hi, Matt and Keith. When I bought my motorhome almost 10 years ago, I bought one that was reasonably upmarket, but not the top end. Then I added the extras that I wanted rather than buy them as part of the initial purchase.
I added new wheels, wider tyres, all-round VB air suspension, a tow bar, a water filter, an air system to to clear residual water after drainage, upgraded a ceiling fan, a super alarm system, tracker and immobiliser, inverter, solar, lithium battery, uprating, plus a plethora of other gadgets I've not told the wife about.
Plethora. Love that word. What I'd like to know is, in your opinion, does the above added extras have any bearing on the resale value? If I go to a dealer, I'd fully expect them to tell me that all the accessories and extras I've added mean nothing to the trade in value. Of course, they would say that, wouldn't they? Bless them. But I'd like to know your thoughts as I'm considering whether to trade it in or not. Cheers, says Dave Miller in Yate.
Or Yate, as we love to call it. Lately. I think that Windy Miller, this is you, isn't it? Given the spec of your van, there's not many people with a Choson this highly equipped. I'm sure it's you. It's lovely to hear from you. So it depends if I'm buying it or selling it. If I'm buying it, then it's probably the extras are going to represent 20% of their retail value. But obviously when you're trying to sell it, you want to big up the extras a bit. I'll be honest, they do add a minimal value. They, in reality, make yours far more attractive than the one next to it.
But they have been used, haven't they?
They've been used, yeah. And typically, a dealer will look at accessories as a 20% addition to the value. I was recently chatting with someone who had a massive Victron system, a VB air ride system, alarms and all sorts of gadgets like yours, and they wanted 15 or 20k more than it was actually worth. And they said, well, there's 25 grand's worth of extras on it. I said, it's just not worth that much. They are, yes, they add to the value of it because someone hasn't got to go and spend all that money doing them and getting them fitted. But in reality, they are at best probably 20% of their original purchase value, which is heartbreaking if you've not had them fitted on it very long. But that is the reality.
We'd like you to get in touch, and thanks for all your questions. But let me remind you about our brand new Facebook page, Chat with Motorhome Matt. It's a private group. You go on, you ask permission to join, you get in very easily. I'm the only person they've ever rejected. That's Chat with Motorhome Matt on Facebook.
I didn't know you were even on Facebook.
If you want to ask Matt a question, what should they do, Matt?
Please do. We'd love it if you did. Just head to mhmp.info/ask Matt. You can record it by clicking the orange button. Please remember to tell us where you are, or fill in the form and we'll read it for you.
And if you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure that you visit the Motorhome Matt Approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved.
And remember, click follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and that little bell.